Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings. Today we have a trending news here for you. And the news headline reads, Nigerians in Diaspora protest at the World Bank demands FBI involvement over allegations of fraud. Alright, but before we go on with details of the news and further analysis, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe. Keep subscribing to our channel so that we can continue to have a great community of people who are talking, and that will help a great deal. And also don't forget to click on the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish videos on YouTube. All right, let's listen to the news.
Nigerians in Diaspora, on the platform of the Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, protested at the headquarters of the World Bank in Washington, D.C., United States, to present a petition to the president of the Global Financial Institution, David Malpass, requesting them to stop granting loans to the Nigerian government already indebted to the tune of over $82 billion. The group later moved to the headquarters of the Federal Bureau of Intelligence and delivered a petition requesting the body to investigate allegations that World Bank officials allegedly received bribes to grant loans to states and the Nigerian government. The petition was supported with 105 pages of 2,266 signatories signed by Nigerians via change.org. Speaking on behalf of the coalition, Frederick Odorigi said that since writing off Nigerians' $18 billion debt by the Paris Club in 2005, the government had continued to borrow at the detriment of Nigerians with very little or nothing on ground to show for it. This has been worsened by the fact that they have borrowed Nigeria into being the poverty capital of the world. He said $460 million was reportedly borrowed from China about a decade ago under the guise of using it to install CCTV in the Federal Capital Territory. The project was not executed as contracted, but our country continued to service that loan. There are no variable evidences to show how the $320 million loot of our late former head of state Sani Abacha was appropriated after it was repatriated from Switzerland. There are no verifiable evidences to show how the purported 500 billion naira, that's $1.56 billion, so-called trader money in the name of social investment funds were disbursed. Money borrowed from the World Bank, China, and other places are used in buying the bullets that kill unarmed protesters who are fighting for economic and social justice. Lenders are investing in the blood of our compatriots, many of whom are currently under unlawful detention. Money borrowed from the World Bank, China, and other sources are used in financing unlawful detention of Nigerians against the orders of the court. Finally, it is very important that we bring to your notice ongoing allegations that officials of the World Bank received bribe in order to grant loans to state and federal government of Nigeria. It is alleged that this is the reason why loans are quickly granted. We are not making direct accusations at this point because we do not have verifiable evidences. However, we know that there is no smoke without fire. Therefore, we respectfully petition that it quickly embark on a thorough investigation in conjunction with the Federal Bureau of Investigations on the ongoing allegations making the round in Nigeria. In response to the protest, Marcela Sanchez Bender, Media Relations and Lead Corporate Communications in company with colleagues, promised to deliver the petition to the appropriate authorities.
All right, thank you very much for the news. And we just want to look at some of the response from Nigerians who are looking at this. One said here, good moves. We can't continue to allow the future of our children be mortgaged by this administration. All right, another one says here, in my view, Nigeria will never move forward, not until we start to tell ourselves the truth, accept the truth, believe in the truth, and act truthfully. Then and only then we can be able to move forward. In this case, the question is, what is the truth? The truth is that we are different nations in one country, not one Nigeria or one people together. We can make Nigeria and her people great if we can bring our individual nations' effort together in understanding fairness, equity, and justice. Another person here says Nigerians in diaspora should keep up the fight against government madness in borrowing and borrowing. The only thing this government understands is borrowing to use to cow and intimidate Nigerians, having become slaves in their own land. People who ordinarily are not worth anything are now describing Nigerians, including our eminent Noble Laureate, as nobody because Nigerians say the government should obey rule of law, which the government have decided to throw into the trash can. Every meaning Nigerian in diaspora that counts should come to the rescue of Nigeria before the country descend into anarchy because of absence of rule of law in the government cycle. Wow. This one say, these guys are doing a fantastic job and are making us proud by the day. If Nigerians can change from within, then it has to change from without. Nigeria will and must take the pride of place in the world. A lot of reactions by Nigerians, and we just want to look at these seriously. The country, I think where all this falls is traceable to, let's be real and let's be very objective. It's not just starting now. It's from the days of from 1999, because there were certain things that had happened which was not corrected. Imagine, we're talking about the issue of loan. We still have some issues also to settle in court with some very little companies whom, if things were done rightly, mostly, if, for example, the Attorney General, if that PD and I stuff, if the Attorney General was up, and who knows the consequences of giving an agreement and you don't continue with the contractual agreement and you don't continue with it, if he has stepped out to, cancel that agreement at the start, we are not going to do this thing again. What we are currently fighting in court, spending billions of dollars, we wouldn't be fighting, So it's not just starting now, it's traceable from, but unfortunately, even the current day government have failed to realize that loaning to sponsor capital projects which are not investment related, loaning to take care of, recurrent expenditure to finance budget is absolutely out of it. And guess what? If these loans that we're talking about were actually internal, it would have made some sense, because I believe if you begin to sell something like how do they call this stuff, some financial instruments, whether they are short term, whether they are long term, we are so sure that whatever interest we are paying is still to Nigerians, and they will still use it to invest here in the country. But we are stepping beyond the bounds and going to this country to borrow, to this country to borrow, to this country to borrow. It's affecting everything in Nigeria, and that's why you are hearing Nigerians crying out, thumbs up to those who are in the diaspora. They are doing a great job, which therefore mean they have the interest of the country at heart, because ordinarily, if you go outside the country, life is so easy. They are enjoying themselves. One will just think, as I've gotten to abroad, let me forget about what is happening in that country. I'll just buy myself a grave here. The day I die, they'll just bury me. But hey, they are looking beyond the now. They're thinking about the future of their own children and see how they are striving, because they know down here people are suffering seriously. We have been hearing the issue of loans, and Nigerians are asking for something very simple: accountability. We need accountability. Imagine the case of the return loots of the likes of, as mentioned here, the return loots of the likes of Abacha and some other ones that EFCC claim that they have gotten. Can you give Nigerian a summary of how much that has amounted, detailed account, how much that has amounted to? This is what we are also use it for. Imagine the issue of trader money that they brought in, that they brought in. Is it 2 months to elections? They brought in that one. Nobody can explain how that money was spent. One of the things is that Nigerians always love to take advantage of anything immediately it comes up. So before you even roll out a project that has to involve finance, like there should be a well-structured plan on its disbursement and also accountability. If you call the vice president now and tell him, let me have a detailed listing, the phone numbers of the people that collected the money and how we can get to them, they cannot get. Nigerians will not know anything about it again. And these things are really, really making the country to tumble day after day. Now, they're moving into 2023. By the time this government hand over power to the next government, those guys will come in and begin to fund loans again. They begin to pay interest again. And by the time they begin to pay interest, they will also start their own borrowing. So after a while, you realize that Nigeria will be a slave to so many countries. Yeah, the step taken by this guy is great, but one of the things that bothers my heart is the fact that you're going to a financial institution to tell the financial institution that they should stop lending money to a nation that they know no matter what happened, they have an oil reserve which will always be funding this thing. Do you think that they're going to stop? That's one thing I am looking at. I can assure you that World Bank will not stop giving out the loan as far as they know that those loans will still be repaid somehow, even if it takes the next 50 years. Let's keep on pushing so that they continue to be a slave. I think the fight, thank you for the fight thus far, but also we need to come internally. When it is, I think one of the greatest things that Nigerians can do for ourselves is for us to have electoral education. Nigerians should be educated electorally, they should about elections and voting in people into power. They should have adequate desensitization so that it can help. So at least let's bring in someone who understands the economy of Nigeria and who can fix this country at least to some extent, because the hopes of Nigeria are being dashed right now. We are thinking that progressionally we'll be walking out of a lot of things, but we are diving deep into it. And what pains the heart most is the fact that monies are being borrowed. At the same time as it is being borrowed, people are also there who are looting this borrowed fund. There is nothing as painful as that. Getting money to say, let's use it for this capital project, let's use it for this investment. And another person sits by, merely hears the money is coming. He strategizes on how he's going to be stealing those monies and making fully of Nigerian and making happy his family and his kindred. It is overly painful. These are some of the things that Nigerians need to look into, and we see how we can correct it, because the pains in the hearts of Nigeria is growing day by day, and there's no one that can guarantee the unity of the country if things continue like this. Imagine how agitations everywhere. Somebody is there, the rule of law has been kicked into the mud. A lot of things are happening now, borrowing up and down. If those things are not fixed on time, this country, we cannot really say that Nigerians will still be of one accord. Like one of the respondents have said, that if this is that the case in Nigeria is that we have a country with so many nations inside. And that's the truth. This one is talking about my geopolitical zone has not been taken care of. My geopolitical zone has not been taken care of. My geopolitical zone has not been taken care of. With this in mind, everything is being affected. Ethnicity is ruling our mind. Religion is ruling our mind. How can we get the country fixed? These are some of the things that must be considered. I hope that World Bank, on reading this, they will take the bulls by the horn and see how they can stop funding our country. Let us look inwards and correct some of the ills that is in our society.
Well, for me, the thumbs up to those in diaspora. Honestly, it's as if Nigerians in Nigeria are actually helpless. But tango, kudos to them for making it open, making the whole world to see. But let's call a spade a spade. Sometimes objectivity is needed. Now, you can imagine money is collected sometime, how many years ago, for CCTV cameras, about $400 and something million. None was fixed. We are servicing that money till today, till tomorrow. Now, where is the money? Who looted this money? If these things were not fixed, where did the money go? Let us start from there. Who signed this? Yes. Who agreed to do it? Start from there. But we just play devil. See, we are our problem. Let's tell ourselves the truth. We allow corruption because we ourselves, we are corrupt. Now, if EFCC want to do the job the way they ought to do it, pick from there. Honestly, the corporates will just flag open like this VAR. And after that,
sign for the loan and everything.
Begin to pick. Just the same way they look for Yahoo boys, they should look for this one. Now, when you get that,
house that money,
when you finish getting all this, you get to know where those monies are. Don't allow Nigerians to pay indefinitely. Collect back those monies first. Confiscate whether property bought in Nigeria or abroad or diaspora. Start there. By the time you confiscate it, we'll start paying from there. Then the EFCC themselves that will say they recover this, they recover that, and we don't know where the monies are being spent. And you keep recovering. Where is the money in the economy? If you have recovered, show us. Okay, this is the money. We have handed it over to accountant general, or we have handed it over to this. So instead of borrow, okay, we're using it to do this. We don't know. We just hear we have recovered. We keep recovering. Where are the monies? Okay, this select Mayana has been caught. Mayana has taken some monies. Where is the money that they have gotten from Mayana? Where is it? Let's call a spade a spade. Then this issue of selective prosecution is not doing us good. So, which means I have immunity to prosecution. I can the people can use my name to steal enough, and when I leave, under my immunity, I disburse the money, but you can't prosecute me because I have immunity of prosecution for life. You should cease. As soon as you leave that seat, that immunity dies. Such that whatever you have signed, whatever you have endorsed, your aid is endorsed through your office, via your office, via your aid, everybody goes down. And once they investigate you, find you wanted, there's no need. Let's leave this issue of I'm sick, let's go to a hospital. You will not go to any hospital first. We recover all the national monies. By the time you do that, and we do the China style, the first lady was talking about that China has so much population in their country. Let's do the China style too. If you are caught in everything, there's a fine and death by hanging for corruption and corrupt practices. Honestly, by the time you elect the next president or the next governor or the next leader, he will be cautioned, knowing fully that his life is at risk. And Nigeria should also stop this issue of electoral vote buying. If you know that you are going to, because if we have elected true leaders that have integrity, when they tell you to say no, my people have suffered enough, and we begin to recover, Nigeria have everything it takes to be a world giant, from human resources. When I talk about intellect, Nigerians got a lot of intellect. When it comes to creativity, look at music. Before now, it was the other way around. Now, Nigeria export music. We got oil. And our environment is the best. We don't get to hear social environmental hazard. The one we have is the one that is human-induced, like floods and landslides due to bad environmental planning. But other ones, that tsunami and earthquakes and the rest, the hurricane, we don't get to hear it here in Nigeria because we are truly blessed by God. But our leaders seem to be our challenge. Honestly, kudos to them. At least we'll start from somewhere. Then we'll get there eventually.
All right, thank you very much. That's where we're going to leave it. Go to our comment section. Let us interact. What's your position on